All right, let's do this. This Tahoe is my work truck. I tow all kinds of stuff with it. I tow everything. And then when I tow this boat, this stinking little air compressor dips into the water because the location is directly behind the back bumper, and it gets ruined every time. So we're gonna move it under the hood, up near the engine. Now, it's perfectly normal to get your truck a little wet when you launch a boat, right? I mean, look, this is the way it is. This is what you do. But this air compressor is right behind the back bumper. So instead of installing the fifth one to get ruined, literally the fifth one, I'm going to move it under the hood. Here it is. This is what it's going to look like. You'll need to buy some parts. I suggest McMaster Car. First of all, you'll need a Y connector to split one into two, from one airline to two shocks. And you'll need a couple of these straight connect and a roll of this DOT 1/8 inch tube. I'm going to screw the new compressor directly to the auxiliary battery plate. That's right behind the driver's side headlight. Here it is here with a battery in it. If you got a battery there, you're going to have to find a new place. And so the first thing we got to do is jack up the car just a little bit, just enough to get access. And here we go. 13 millimeter wrench, remove those few bolts. That's the air compressor right there. That one's ruined. Like I said, that's my fifth, maybe sixth one. I don't know. Don't forget to connect this connector right here. I made that mistake one time and it didn't work, so make sure you connect it. When you get a new air compressor, it'll come with two little connectors. One of them we don't need, or at least I didn't need it. You might need it. Anyway, and then with the other one, we're just going to cut that one in half, and then we're literally just going to extend it and turn it into a 20-foot connector, but maintain both ends. You'll see how that works now. You need a bunch of wire. See all those wires? I think there's 7 of them. You need all those colors. Just make the colors match. That's all you gotta do, just make a match. Look at this guy, look at him go. See him? He is stripping, I think, something, and then I think he's gonna solder them. We're gonna get into soldering. He's tinning those now. He's gonna tin them first, and then get some, you need shrink wrap. Don't forget to put shrink wrap on all the connections before you solder them. If you don't have a soldering iron, you can use these stinking things. I don't really like them, they don't really work that good. I recommend soldering, but these will work if you do them right. Now let's cut some steel. There's a little steel, cut that, a little more steel, cut that, and let's see if the air compressor fits right there. This was kind of in the way. Goodbye. All right, what's next? So he is still tinning, I think. It would be great if he got done at some point. Maybe he'll start soldering. Oh, there he goes. Look at him go. Again, don't forget the shrink wrap. See the shrink wrap? You want to put in the shrink wrap before you solder. Let's deburr that steel. Here we go, deburr it. Deburr it. We need to put some holes in this little base plate, so I'm going to locate those holes using this carbon tip caliper. It's a tricky little way to find the corners. And here we go. We're going to tap on them with this thing, whatever it's called, center punch, and then it's going to...
I think it's a good idea, and I'm standby.
And we'll get some holes in there. I put 6 in, kind of in an interesting little staggered pattern. There they are. That's our base plate, and then we're going to put screws through there and into the auxiliary battery plate, as I mentioned before. There's the steel. It's always kind of a good idea just to check and make sure you're doing a good job before you start welding things, and it's also a very good idea to just tack first. So we're going to take some of that paint off so you can weld it. Here we go. Oh yeah, another good idea, do a practice weld. Make sure your settings are good. That is a nice practice weld. Alright, let's get that thing out of the way and tack this whole thing together. We'll do some quick tacks. Tack, 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 tack. Tack this.
Seems like a perfectly reasonable time to end this video right now. Enough is enough, man. Enough
and let's see if it fits in the engine compartment. That's a... Yeah, here we go. Let's weld it.
You gotta be kidding me, man.
Good welds. Maybe grab a little fire cloth so you don't burn the thing. It's always a good idea. Protects the equipment. Weld that in. Weld it. Weld it.
Just weld burn everything.
Okay.
All of it.
Now
right
what
down.
is next? More welding? I guess. Oh, there he is. He's doing that. Oh, he's making the loom.
Let's
okay,
get into
so
the
this is
pneumatic.
important. So that's the connector that this thing comes with. They're those funny little clip-on connectors. You just roll them this way and that way to disconnect them. So we're just going to cut that off. And then we're just going to attach the hose like this. So that little blue hose is literally in the wiring loom. You would never know it was there. It just looks like one of the wires. It's an 1/8 inch hose, but it's in there. So we're going to run that right into the loom with everything else. You see him taping it in? He had that purple tape in his pocket. absolutely be through bolting this thing, but to be honest with you, I just don't really have time. So I'm just going to use a bunch of tech screws. They're like 1/8 inch tech screws or something like that. There they go. I put all 6 in right into that auxiliary battery plate, like I mentioned.
Yeah, like 10 times.
There's another one. Needed to get a couple longer ones. Some longer ones. I think screwed in there pretty good now.
Painted it while you were.
Time to drill some holes. So I have found that a uni-bit or a step bit, castle bit, whatever you want to call it, is a great way to drill through your body. I drilled one hole right above where the air compressor used to be. Did another hole in the firewall. You saw those. Anyway, we're going to run the loom through those holes and then connect the loom. There it is. Check it out. And then so now we're going to connect the little 1/8 inch blue hose that's hidden right in that loom.
I'm doing the best at this.
To connect those two, we're going to use the straight coupler connector to connect from the existing hose that the compressor comes with to that blue hose. You're going to see it in real time. All you got to do is just shove both ends in really hard and check them and make sure it's seated nicely. It was a little hard to see what I was doing there with that compressor, but this is it. So there's the existing hose, right, getting clipped on. We cut the end off, right, like that, okay? And then connect our blue hose with the straight coupler fitting. All right, we got to pull the wiring loom through the body of the Tahoe now. Here we go. We're pulling it from the engine compartment back. We're going to run it right into the carpet, right there alongside the door. Fit perfectly, you can't even tell. I'm passing it back to Tim back there. He's sort of receiving it.
Yes, queen.
No space for mother-in-law.
I'm going to clean out that area before we put the cover back on. Cover's on. Okay, now we got to send that wiring loom back to where the compressor used to be. And then get that all tucked in and hidden. Don't forget that's all the wires on the hose. And there we go. We're going to connect it. Okay, so this is when we need that little Y connector because we're going from one hose at the compressor to 2 hoses to the 2 shocks, right? And both of those shock hoses are right there because that's where the compressor used to be. So all you got to do is stab that in, get it connected. There it is. Nothing to it. And you got to zip tie all that in and make it nice, right?
You want me to weld that thing for you?
I can't find Tim. I called his name. I just can't find him. Anyway, I'm going to get this end ready to solder. You got to kind of hang it a little long so you can work on it. We're just going to tuck up the excess afterwards. Let's see. So what do we got to do here? Twist all these wires. Oh, and that's the other half of the connector that we cut off in the beginning of the video. There's Tim. He's soldering, or he's tinning. He's going to tin all those wires, and he's going to put, ooh, look at that. He's going to put the shrink wrap on before he solders them. You see that shrink wrap? Always put that on first. And then that's that second half of the connector that we cut in the beginning of the video. There it is. We're going to connect it. Don't forget to zip tie it all up, make it look nice. Grounding. You have to ground this compressor. I thought for sure it would be grounded fine, but as it turns out, that battery plate is isolated to prevent a short, which is brilliant. So anyway, there's that same 13mm wrench. You got to connect on a grounding cable. Ground that thing. I just screwed it right to there with a tech screw.
Oh, nice.
That thing's done. It works good. I forgot to mention this. I did this on a Friday out of necessity because after work tomorrow on a Saturday, I have to deliver these fans to work, and we did it. Got the fans to work. Thanks, Tim.